My name is Sheila Sandow, and it is my privilege and pleasure to serve as your worship leader this morning. I support this congregation in a variety of ways. Today, that also includes singing in our summer choir and creating the lyric slides so we can all sing together easily. During the month of August, we are considering the path of change. I started this call to worship from the back of the sanctuary as a way for us to experience a change in real time. After all, we've always started our worship services another way. How did this change make you feel? Was it disconcerting? Or perhaps you liked experiencing something different? The thing about change is that some changes work, so we get to keep them. Others don't, so we always have the option to change to something different that might work better. Change is certainly something our congregation has been and is now experiencing. We will welcome our new contract minister, the Reverend Laura Thompson, to our pulpit for the first time 1 week from today. We are preparing ourselves for the beginning of a new liturgical year, starting with water communion in early September. And sometime soon, we will be able to fully experience and utilize our new kitchen and social hall. This morning, Worship Associate Susanne Prokscha and I will explore the path of change from several different perspectives, suggesting how we might embrace change both within our congregation and in our personal lives. Some of the ideas we share with you this morning might change your mind, or perhaps change your life. It takes courage to embrace change. As we begin our worship service today, I offer these words about new acts of courage, written by Reverend Dr. Frank O. Holmes. Life does not call us merely to do over and over again what we have already done, nor does it call us to act out as puppets, parts already assigned to us. No. In the midst of a situation which is itself ever-changing, we are free to bring into realization new relationships of understanding and goodwill and new acts of courage. So come, friends, let us worship together as we explore the path of change courageously. I have had the privilege of working closely with retired ESL instructor Ida J. Lewenstein since 2017. During her many years of classroom teaching, Ida wrote charming rhyming poems as a fun way to reinforce the concepts she was teaching. Some of those poems worked their way into imaginative story poems for children. Under the guidance of Ida's publisher son, Dan, and with the help of several professional illustrators, we have together produced 11 books of her poetry. Most are stories for children, but some focus upon the environmental issues that are close to Ida's heart. Ida turned 94 this past spring, and we are currently working together on her 12th book of poetry. A Sad Little Dog, the story we are presenting today, is about being open to changing your mind. That's especially important when it comes to the negative opinions we might have about ourselves. And now, let's meet A Sad Little Dog, written by Ida J. Lewenstein and illustrated by Colleen Sullivan. A sad little dog sat down on a log and, oh, did he complain?
I'm a little dog. Such a tiny dog. If only I were a Great Dane.
I'm missing a page there. Thank you. Said a wise little frog on a nearby log.
Little dog, don't be blue. Look at me, and you can see that I am little too. But I don't moan, and I don't whine. In fact, I like being me most of the time.
Said the sad little dog to the wise little frog.
That may be all right for you, but if I were a Great Dane, I'd never complain, because there's so much more I could do. You see, I could leap and run and have so much fun chasing after a ball, but with these little feet, I can't compete. I can't do much at all.
Little dog, so you can't leap or win a race. Don't you worry, that's no disgrace. Being small has its place.
Little frog, maybe it's true, all that you say. It's just that I never think of myself that way. But you're right. I can fit into a closet, meant for a broom. Can you imagine a Great Dane in such a room? And two, I can sleep under a bed or on a chair. I can lay my head down most anywhere. What's more, I can nap on a lap, just like a cat. I'd like to see a Great Dane do that. And a little kibble is all that I need. I don't need pounds and pounds of meat. I guess I have no reason to complain. So I think I'll just stay the same. So thank you, little frog, for making me see that it's really okay to be little like me.
I have a confession to make. I asked to lead this service to help support our congregation as we navigate our way along the path of change. But the truth is, personally, I tend to prefer stasis over change. I often live my life believing, better the devil you know than the devil you don't. That phrase suggests it's easier to deal with current circumstances, difficult and problematic as they may be, than to risk an unknown future that could turn out worse. At the congregational level, my phrase translates to, we've always done it that way, an attitude that clearly creates resistance to change. Because change is inevitable, human beings have been trying to come to grips with it for a very long time. We can learn from some wise teachers. In the 6th century BCE, Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism, said, "If you do not change direction, you might end up where you're heading." A century later, pre-Socratic Greek philosopher Heraclitus famously said, "The only constant is change." One more century later, Socrates suggested, "The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new." More recent philosophers hailing from diverse venues have also provided us with guidance about how to deal with change. Playwright and political activist George Bernard Shaw said, "Those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything." American psychologist Abraham Maslow said, "In any given moment, we have two options: to step forward into growth or step back into safety." And present-day philosopher Oprah Winfrey tells us, "The greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude." We experience lessons about change all the time. I learned a couple of such lessons this past year right here in our own sanctuary. One came to me while I was singing Better Be a Seed in our choir. Change is a part of everything, the lyric teaches us. Change is what makes me, me. And Reverend Tovis Page, in her final message to our congregation in mid-June, said, "Life is change. Change is life. We are always in the process of turning." As I have soldiered along the path of change, I've discovered many modern-day helpmates. One of them is Karen Kaiser Clark, a world-renowned teacher, lecturer, consultant, educator, and author of 3 best-selling books on growing through change, including Life is Change, Growth is Optional. She suggests we should choose wisely. I commend her work to you, and this morning I am summarizing in her words 6 lessons life taught her about embracing change and impermanence. Lesson number 1, reduce expectations. Nothing lasts forever. You can have reasonable expectations of how you'd like something to turn out, but you can't marry yourself to the result. Reducing or having no expectations can help you manage any changes that do come your way. Unreasonable expectations, on the other hand, will likely be met with loss, disappointment, and pain. Lesson number 2, acknowledge change. It can happen quickly and at any point. Things can and will be different from how they are now. Acknowledging change is allowing it to happen when it unfolds instead of approaching it from a place of denial and resistance. Lesson number 3, accept change. Try to understand what's transforming and why. Circumstances will not necessarily turn out the way you want them to, and that's perfectly all right. Lesson number 4, learn from the experience. If you accept and embrace change, you will start looking for and finding lessons in it. Change becomes your greatest teacher, but only if you give yourself permission to learn from it. Lesson number 5, recognize you're growing stronger. When you accept, embrace, and learn from change, you inevitably grow stronger, thereby allowing you to accept change even if you feel afraid. And finally, in her own words, embrace the wisdom. The more I permitted change and impermanence in my life, the more I grew as a person. Embracing change has brought newfound strength into my life and, surprisingly, more inner peace. This congregation has experienced an enormous amount of change during the past decade. The reflection I wrote about change in 2022, it's up there, okay, included this photo taken at our 2015 ordination of Reverend Pam Gerke. In the 7 years that passed between 2015 and 2022, most of the people in this photo had already moved beyond our beloved community in one way or another. But it wasn't just the people who had changed. After several years of contraction, positive change was happening. My 2022 reflection noted that we had just broken ground on our long-awaited building renovation. New members, leaders, and staff were bringing fresh and exciting ideas. We had sufficiently mastered hybrid service production so that we could bring worship to congregants and visitors, both in person and online. The choir had just returned to in-person singing. Volunteers were stepping forward to fill critical gaps in worship planning, religious exploration, and ministerial search. The pace of change in this community has continued vigorously since 2022. We moved into our beautiful worship and meeting spaces, and we will soon have full use of our newly renovated kitchen and social hall. We employed gifted ministers to help us through our transitions, and now Reverend Laura will continue to guide us. We've welcomed many new members, improving and adding programs to help everyone participate. Change is something we will continue to experience, both individually and collectively. But it's important to note this. One thing we know will not change is our values. Let's take to heart a teaching of the Dalai Lama, the leader of Tibetan Buddhism, who said, "Open your arms to change, but don't let go of your values." 3 years ago, I wrote that change is certainly in the air and on the ground here at UUSM, and the energy is palpable. That continues to be true about our community right now, and it will always be true. After all, as Benjamin Franklin wrote, when you're finished changing, you're finished. My friends, we are definitely not finished. As we move forward together, let us greet change with energy and enthusiasm, and with love always as our guide.
You all know this one. Sing it with me, if you want to. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
So I was inspired to talk about this topic of how we manage and embrace change by the workshop on ministerial transitions, which was led by Reverend Melissa James here at UUSM in May. As it happens, I am comfortable and often energized by change, but it can still make me anxious. So I'm going to share with you some examples of the ways that I cope. So I have a big trip coming up. And my current camera has not been able to do what I needed, so I bought a slightly more advanced camera. And these cameras are going to help me illustrate some of my techniques of seeing change through a new lens. So I really want to use this new camera, but I know how to use that one over there. And I began to have some doubts about whether I did the right thing in getting this one. And I started to feel that uncomfortable feeling, which could lead me to say, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to go back and switch to my usual camera. So I also have some lists and numbers of things. My first technique that I recommend is find things that are familiar when you face change. Now, even though these two cameras are different brands, they actually have very similar menus. And I'm like, do not have to relearn the menus. And I really value the function on the old camera where it takes a lot of shots continuously in sports mode. Having trouble finding it, but I know it's got to be there. So I'm going to use that as another hook to learn to use the new camera. So now looking at UUSM, there is much here that is not changing. We can find many things that are familiar. Our beloved congregation members, our committees who work so hard, our beautiful building. These are not going to go away. As you face change and you feel a nope coming on, look for those familiar and beloved items. Another one of my favorite tools with change is the word yet. To keep things positive, I attach the word yet to the end of a negative statement, and it becomes surprisingly encouraging. I do not know how to use this new camera yet. And if we talk about UUSM, I do not know how our new minister works with worship associates yet. And as you can see, it can actually make you smile, and it can at least help you keep on trying. So my third technique is reframing. And that is a really powerful tool, but it takes some work because you have to get yourself to do it, to see things through a new lens. With reframing, you shift a negative or unhelpful thought to a more positive or constructive one. The little dog in our story used reframing. He couldn't change that he was little, but he shifted his perspective to focus on positive aspects of being small. I use reframing when I'm faced with a situation that I see as negative, but is likely to continue. So a simple example, this time not about the cameras, is that I have never liked to cook. But for various reasons, I have been the one to provide the evening meal in our family almost every day for the last 30 or 40 years. This is literal. Almost every day for the last 30 or 40 years. As my family grew, my dislike of cooking became stronger. Somewhere along the line, I realized that I wasn't going to change. So I was going to have to change my own attitude about the situation. People told me I was a great cook, and I would just respond, but I don't really like cooking. So I decided to tell myself, okay, you don't like the cooking part, but you really like the outcome and the benefits of home cooking. And I started to focus on that. And I literally repeated it to myself. And when people mentioned cooking, asked if I liked cooking, I would say honestly, I don't like cooking, but I really like the benefits. And it actually started to make a difference. It took a while, right? I mean, we're talking years possibly, but it worked. And now, when it comes to be 5:45 and it's time for me to start that meal prep, I see it a little bit differently. I accept that I don't like cooking, but I really do like the outcome, and I'm very proud of what I do. I've even introduced something that I call recreational cooking. This is where I make something that is not dinner. Maybe a cake, maybe it's granola, maybe jam. I even tried to make crackers. It's because I want to have the outcome and enjoy the result. The little dog in our story is going to stay little, but he starts to see some benefits there. There may be changes at UUSM that you don't like, but maybe are not going to go away. Consider looking for even a small aspect that is positive. Find the positive in the change and focus on that, and let that grow within you. So to close, I want to add that the principles of right relations can also help us manage change here at UUSM. When a change or a proposal triggers a strongly negative reaction, especially when it's a negative reaction against a person or group, assume good intention. We are UUs. When we joined UUSM as members, we made a covenant to use right relations, which you can find on the website. Right relations tells us we should trust another's intentions and communicate directly with one another when we are in conflict. So let's look ahead to the upcoming congregational year, and if you want to embrace change, try things when it makes you anxious or angry. There are familiar things around us you can look for. And you can remember that we may not know Reverend Laura yet. And if the change is set and you don't like it, try reframing to focus on some positive aspect. And always, please, assume good intentions. We are a congregation that has managed change before and is thriving, as Sheila so pointed out. We will keep love at the center of our work through this time. Thank you.